Hi everyone and welcome to Season 1 Episode 11 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. So we've reached the crunch point in the season in the sense that the league campaign is over and we reached the playoffs. And we have a one-off game today against Nancy and the winner goes through to play Guingamp in the playoff final, I believe. So it's important. So can we get a good result in a one-off game against Nancy today? Let's find out. So obviously nothing has happened since the last episode in terms of having finished off the campaign in the league. You can see that we won in the last game against Chambly and form was pretty good for the last sort of month and a half of the season, which is good leading into the playoffs. Couple of losses here and there, but not too bad. So all of it means that today we do have that one-off game. If we go and look into the league table, how it finished, let me just go and get the right state. Click the right button, Kev. There we go. League table. And you can see that Nancy finished 2 points behind us. We finished 1 point behind Guingamp. So you can see that it's all very tight in that section. So any one of the three of us really have got a real good chance of potentially going up through the playoffs. One-off game, no double-legged tie. So it's literally one game against Nancy and the winner goes through to play Guingamp. So can we manage to do that? We have home advantage because we finished higher in the league than Nancy did. So that's got to go in our favours. But the pressure is on. Let's get into the tactics page and see what we've got in store for Nancy. So we've basically had to make one change from our normal starting lineup for this particular match, and that's only because Situ has picked up a suspension through too many yellow cards, so he's out of the lineup today. Bernard has got a little bit of a knock on the bench, but isn't taken away from the bench. He's still capable to play. Other than that, everybody is pretty much fit and healthy and raring to go, having been able to rotate a little bit in recent games. That's helped us enormously. So for today's crunch match at home against Nancy in the one-off game for the playoff, we have Michel in goal, Bregury and Suprayan in central defence, Gaspar at right back, Boto at left back, Adiotti, Belogu and Ngando in central midfield with Saki in the attacking midfield role and Lebihan and Yanis up top. With a bench of Wilson, Bernard and Dom, Toure, Sylvestre, Dujimon and Yatara. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. Well, this was a slightly confusing team talk. I basically told them to go out there and give a performance that everyone is expecting, and it stressed a load of them out. So I had to go back in passionately and tell them that I think they've got what it takes to make the difference, and that turned their body language a little bit and made them look as though they were a bit more interested. So eventually we managed to find a way to get them into a happy spot, but it took a little bit of tweaking, that one. It's one of those really weird things about Football Manager that you can seemingly give a reasonably good team talk about just going out there and doing as what you can do, and they all just freak out over it sometimes. Anyway, chance for us to start the game positively. 8 minutes in with the first highlight. Down the left-hand side, cross comes in. Lebihan didn't quite get to it, and they boot it clear. Can we win the header at the back? Just about. And we do come away with it back into midfield so we can build up another attack. Belogu puts it back to Bregury and he goes wide right, but Gaspar had dropped back in at fullback and so there wasn't anybody there at that point. And we lose the ball again and it's Nancy that come back at us, taking their time through central midfield, back into defence. So we've pushed them back. Can we keep them in that kind of area and find a way to get a tackle in somewhere? They've worked it down the right-hand side for them. We do get a tackle in, and it's Yanis that picks up the loose ball down the left-hand side, should I say, into the central midfield. Back to Yanis in a bit of space, drops it back to Boto. Cross comes into Lebihan, and he puts it into the back of the net with a great header. Really good sweeping cross comes in from Boto. Dropped back there by Yanis, gets it out his feet. And, just as they're showing the goal again, we notice that it was an offside decision in the end, and it doesn't count. But it was minuscule. It was very, very close. Good header, but free kick to Nancy comes in, and the goalkeeper fumbles it, but fortunately we have a defender there to help clear the ball. Not great work by Michel there from our goalkeeper. but we just about survive it. Good strike on the free kick, but not phenomenal, not like a world beater. He didn't do a very good job. Again, it's Nancy down their right-hand side attacking us after a throw-in to them. And we give them a little bit of space to bring it forward. That's where we're slightly sitting narrow, of course, in our diamond. So they do have a little bit of midfield space out wide if they can use it. And they've changed the direction of play over to the left-hand side. And then they take the lead, and there's no disputing that goal, is there? It was a very, very kind of hopeful ball, it felt like, across the pitch. We'll just check it out in a second, coming up in this particular period of play. This one here, a bit of a sweeping ball into our right full-back area. Gaspar doesn't get up high enough, so the attacking player takes the ball, drives into the penalty box, has a strike low at goal, and the goalkeeper doesn't get down enough. And they take a 1-0 lead with after 30 minutes of the match. And we've got to be a little bit careful here, haven't we? A corner kick to them, but we managed to defend it well, and Saki comes away with the ball and he drives down the left-hand side of the pitch into a little bit of space, drops it into the middle to Ngando, and Ngando puts it narrowly wide. And we're going to go in the shouts and demand more from them for the last 10 minutes of the first half. We're a bit unlucky on that particular effort, weren't we? You can see that in terms of match play, it's a bit confusing in the sense of we're so low in possession, which I don't like at all. But we're doing okay. We're creating chances. We've had more shots at goal than they have, and just a little bit more than they have on the shots on target. But still not doing fantastically well. So I think we're going to have to be a little bit more assertive with them at half time and say, "Where's your passion, lads?" Try and get them to be motivated and intent on changing this in the second half. And they have seemingly done so in terms of the way that they responded to the team talk. So we're going to go straight back into the shouts again and demand even more from them moving forward into the second half, and just see if we can put the pressure on a little bit. We're going to go into an attacking way to play rather than the positive, just because we now need to go and find a goal, don't we, to get back into this game. So 74 minutes in, and we've reached a point of no return, really. We've got to do something about it now. So what can we do? Well, we've got Lebihan looking anxious and on a low rating, so he comes out. Dujimon comes in to play that target man role for us. Saki, the best player we've got potentially, is not really doing it today, so Sylvestre comes in for him. And we've either got a fullback that we can change, but he's got a little bit of a knock on the bench, or we change something in that central midfield area, and I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to take Balogu out and bring Toure in and just bring him into the fold for the last few minutes of the game. We're going to be ready for another shout to push forward into the last few minutes of the game and just see if we can get anything from the last 5 minutes. And the cross comes in and it drops back out of the penalty box for a Cyprien to cross back in. Dujimon under it and it gets the goal. 85 minutes gone, we find a way to equalise. Came off a corner kick, but the corner was too long and it went wide out onto the far side. And eventually it was central defender Cyprien that picks up the loose ball and has enough about him to turn and cross the ball in left-footed onto the head of the substitute Dujimon, gets his header on target down low into that bottom corner, and we go 1-1, and they just checked on that offside again, and I thought for a second they were going to give it, but this time it goes in our favour, and we do go 1-1 with a couple of minutes to play. So we're just going to drop the play back down to more positive rather than attacking, and just see if we can find a way to get us through to extra time or penalties, whatever comes. And we almost threw it away. A good chance in the end came from a long ball into the penalty box. Header came down to an attacking player. Strike at goal went straight down the sights of the keeper. And we managed to get a 1-1 draw through to 90 minutes. Now, what happens next? I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest. This is one of the things about playing in a slightly foreign country in terms of their rule set. Do we go into extra time? We do. We go to play extra time. So passionately, we're going to go in and say, what are we going to say? we've been the better team here. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I think that's generally true. We've had much better stats than they have in terms of numbers in the game. We just haven't quite converted the chances. Now is a chance to do that. We've gone, of course, back into the slightly positive mindset rather than the ultra-attacking one, just because we're now even again. But for the second half of extra time, having gone through first half and nothing happening, we might be persuaded to push out again for the last few minutes. But it's a corner kick. Gaspar corner, and Dujimon gets underneath the ball, heads it way over the top of the bar, really. Doesn't really challenge anybody. We're going to go for this. 5 minutes left of the game, pretty much. And we've just got to see if we can get one chance. So we've gone ultra attacking, but first off it was Nancy with the ball down the left hand side, but we get a good tackle in and then we boot it clear, and it wasn't specific enough, but again they've given the ball away in midfield and we come back at them. Silvestre, the substitute, onto the edge of the box, has a pot shot but it's blocked. Gaspar picks up the loose ball, crosses, he doesn't, he shoots at goal himself when he probably should have crossed it in, and it goes straight at the goalkeeper. And that maybe is our one chance in the game to win it, and we didn't quite manage it. And now we get penalty shootouts to see who goes through to the next round in the playoffs. It's an absolute lottery, and you can see my penalty taking attributes are not particularly strong in this particular setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to auto pick it and then let them go and see how we get on, because they're not fantastic, but hopefully Nancy aren't either. Nancy with the first one, and it's Santos that steps up, right-footed, and the goalkeeper stands where he is in the centre of the goal and saves it, and that's a fantastic start for us. Dujimon steps up. Can he make it 1-0 and make them pay for what they did? And he does. 1-0. We go up in the penalty shootout early doors. So it's important for Nancy to start finding the back of the net here. Can the goalkeeper pull off another save? He can. 2 saves in a row from the goalkeeper, and we are well in control of the penalty shootout. And Gando has to do the business here, though, and keep the pressure on them. Steps up left-footed, and he puts it into the corner of the net. And we do go 2-0 up in the penalty shootout. This is going very, very well so far. It's now Bertrand for Nancy stepping up left-footed. The goalkeeper saves a 3rd penalty in the row. Fantastic by the goalkeeper. He hasn't had to do an awful lot, let's be fair, because he's just basically stood in the middle, not dived, and twice is gone basically where he's been. So poor penalties, but really, really good goalkeeping when asked by our number 1 goalkeeper. So fantastic work by him. Let's see if we can keep this going all the way through the penalty shootout. Can we get a one from Toure? And he puts it away, and that is the end of the penalty shootout. They weren't at the races for those penalty kicks at all, were they? And we turned a slightly frustrating game, a 1-1 draw after extra time, into a really good win after a penalty shootout. So we're not going to overanalyze the performance. I think it was one of those days where we created a bunch of chances and didn't really have the quality on the finish, which was unfortunate. 8 shots on target, though, and we just couldn't quite find a way to put it past the goalkeeper on this particular occasion. We're going to go into the team talk, and passionately we're going to say, what a comeback, a superb win, well done. Didn't get a great response from them, but that's okay. And now we go into the semi-final of the playoffs against Guingamp. And that's going to be a really challenging game. They finished in and around us this season. Let's go back to the table just to show you exactly again where they finished. They finished 1 point clear of us in the division. So it's still all to play for, isn't it? And we've still got another game after this to come. So it's not over yet, but another one-off game against Guingamp in the playoffs to see who goes through into the next part of the playoffs. Hope you'll join me for that in the next episode. That's what's to come. We got a one-off game against Guingamp to see if we can continue our journey in the playoffs. I think potentially it might be one season too early to go up, but I'm not going to argue with it if it happens, and we're going to absolutely try our best to make sure it does. So join me for the next episode, see how we get on against Guingamp in the playoffs, in the semi-finals. Thank you for joining me today, though. Quite an interesting game, wasn't it? A bit drab for bits of it. We came back in the last efforts of the 90 minutes into extra time. Not a lot happened there. And then those penalty shootouts. Our goalkeeper was phenomenal. And they kind of messed it up a little bit, didn't they? Anyway, that's going to do it today. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. It helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.